10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8, 7, 4 seconds. Those outside, you have 2 seconds, because I'm going to start in 1 second. We're about to start. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the launch of the Faculty of Engineering. Complements the University of the West Indies Mona campus. As you all know, we have a Faculty of Engineering at the St. Augustine campus. And among us here are quite a few distinguished people. You have to excuse me if I don't mention all of you in my first going. But first of all, I would like to acknowledge our principal, Professor Dale Weber. We have representing the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Ms. Stephanie Sewell. We have here in our audience among our distinguished members, I see former Principal Gordon Shirley. I see also former Deputy Principal Professor Ishinkumba Kawa. Our Registrar, I see a number of persons, our deans from the Faculty of Medicine and the Faculty of Science and Technology, out of which the Faculty of Engineering was born. And I see a number of other persons who were associated with the faculty. Of course, Professor Ying, who we will hear from, 1967. He's still a young boy. I don't know, class of 1967. Neville Ying. Dr. Vin Lawrence, who's been associated with this initiative. And a number of others who I will mention as time progresses. But we also want to mention our representative from the University of Florida, who will be joining us via video conferencing, Professor Norman Fitzcoy, and also Mr. Jake Susky from New Fortress Energy, who's an executive member. And we will hear from Jake Susky later. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you here and to have the launch of this very distinguished Faculty of Engineering. As you all know, many of the persons who work with the faculty have been working in engineering for quite a time, and the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Dr. Paul Aiken, himself a very distinguished engineer, you will hear from later. Before we go into any other business, I would like to ask our principal, Professor Dale Weber, to come up and bring us greetings on behalf of the campus. I'm sure he's very pleased to start off his tenure with this wonderful launch of engineering, another faculty.
Thank you very much, Professor Boxill, Deputy Principal. Professor the Honorable Gordon Shirley. What must I say? Ambassador, Principal. I even call him Dad sometimes. Oh, cut that. All right, fine. Professor Shirley, welcome home. That's what I'll say. Campus Registrar, Deans, Deputy Deans, especially the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, who has worked tirelessly from the beginning to get us to where we are now. Ms. Sewell from the Ministry, colleagues, partners, as I know we have to represent our partners well. Special mention of New Fortress, because I heard a lot about what we will do together in the future over the last... I've been principal for all of 42 days. And it's growing on me. Special mention, of course, to the class of 67, because I hear that there are many, many rivers to cross, and you have crossed many of them. And there are some members of that class who, of course, have become engineers. You know, engineers are strange individuals. Engineers think they can do everything. The problem is, usually they can. The question is, should they? So we have to hold the moral high ground when our engineers do everything else. Since September 2009, engineering at Mona has grown from a single BSc program in electronics engineering to the addition of civil, computer systems, and electrical power engineering, and now we celebrate the launch of a faculty out of what was a school. But why? This has been a response to the demands of various sectors of government. In fact, the requests from the biomedical and health sectors have resulted in a BSc in biomedical engineering, which started this year. And to get them to where they ought to be, special programs for entry. But I'll come to that in a second. The number of applications to the programs within what was then the School of Engineering grew and grew. It came from a brainchild where Professor Shirley, who was then principal, said, and an engineer, we need to get more engineers in Jamaica. Since engineers believe they can do anything and everything, why don't we challenge them, produce them, and let them go and do anything and everything? The mission was to try and get 1,000 engineers within a 5-year period. It started with a school, and it's grown very quickly. In 2017-18, we had 1,100 applicants. It is just spaces that's preventing us from achieving the goal. The school has grown in many ways. They've grown in recruitment, both students and staff. They've grown in retention, having been able to keep the staff that they had as part-time coming into full-time. They've gotten laboratories, they've gotten new buildings, but most of all, they've gotten partnerships. And it's the partnerships that has made this faculty grow to the point that it is now. In a recent visit to Imperial College in London, yet another top-rated institution, they had a strong desire to link with the Faculty of Engineering here. In fact, they have offered to send students and staff on an exchange program as early as February. I don't think it has anything to do with the climate, it is really how quickly we can sign the MOU. But you can rest assured that this is only one of a number of entities that have expressed an interest to work with the faculty. Why? Because the objectives of this faculty, in general, the objective to provide world-class quality education in engineering, which emphasizes world-class research. The UWI benefits from this by using it in our new strategic plan. Our strategic plan of 2017-2022 says that we should be looking at access, alignment, and agility. Under access, the Faculty of Engineering, having just started, recognized that some students have a deficiency. Rather than waiting for them to go elsewhere, they've created a preliminary program in engineering, giving access to those who normally would not be able to get in, working with them, meeting students where they are, and bringing them to where they should be. That's meeting the university's strategic plan. The second goal was to improve teaching and learning. They've done this by putting in place a quality assurance deputy dean as the first deputy dean to come within the faculty. And the issue there is going to be how can we meet the standards that have been set by such high engineering calibers. Then there is the all-important AL3 alignment, where academic and industry alignment is at the fore. And the Mona Engineering, the Faculty of Engineering now, is responding directly to the call from the government of Jamaica and various industries for an increase in number of engineer graduates. The growing technical sectors of the country has estimated a demand for 1,000 engineers per year. Engineering at Mona continues to attract increasing numbers, and this year they've taken in a record number of students, and we will need to continue to grow to meet that. The 5-year plan, as laid out by Dean Aiken, says we should get to as high as a faculty of 30. Good thing it will take 5 years. We need to raise some more money to employ the 30. But we're working with a cadre of current students who have demonstrated great tenacity and ability to think up new projects. And the final, AC1, to be a university that reaches out and first choice. All the projects from all the students that have come through the faculty so far have been projects that have solved problems either here on the campus that we would have paid a lot of money for elsewhere, or projects that solve problems across Jamaica. This is a faculty that's on the move. So we started with medicine with 33 students, 1 faculty. Now we are here, 7 faculties. Faculty of Engineering, our newest faculty, the new kid on the block with a far way to go, but with the wind beneath your wings, we are here to support you. UWI Mona Campus welcomes the Faculty of Engineering and welcomes you to this afternoon's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Weber. So, There's a fire in the middle of the room and 3 buckets of water in the corner. A physicist walks in, takes a bucket of water, pours it around the fire, and waits for the fire to put itself out. A mathematician walks in, looks at the fire and the remaining bucket of water, convinces himself there's a solution, and walks out. An engineer walks in and pours a bucket of water on the fire. It does not go out, so he goes off to check the fire safety standards. Differences between engineer, mathematician, and a physicist, and we all have them here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to have Ms. Sewell, who is representing the minister who's unable to make it here today. As some of you might know, when this faculty was started, when it was a school, the intention was to have a collaborative programs or set of programs with those in the private sector and those in the government. We are happy to report that the Ministry of Education has been forthcoming in terms of its scholarship awards to engineering students. And Ms. Sewell is here to report on the relationship that I'm sure that the Ministry of Education and the faculty will have going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ms. Sewell on behalf of the Minister.
Principal, Prof. Dale Weber, former Principal, Prof. Shirley, Prof. Kawa, former Deputy Principal, Registrar, Dr. Bell Hutchinson, Prof. Copeland, I'm not sure if he's here, welcome. Prof. Aiken, or Dr. Aiken, congratulations and welcome. Other deans, members of UE senior management, specially invited guests, distinguished engineers, class of 1967, a special welcome to you all and good evening. I am clearly not the Minister of Education, and neither am I Sharon Hay Webster, as was promised, but it is still my pleasure to be here. So thank you for accepting me. So I would like to extend apologies on behalf of the Minister for his absence this evening. He is truly disappointed for not being able to attend, but he is currently taking part in a teacher sensitization session that is going on in St. Anne. And as you can imagine, if there is a session going on in St. Anne this afternoon, the engineers can tell you, I don't know how logistics would work, but I don't think it would be easy to get here for 6:30, given an event in St. Anne. But I can tell you that he would have wanted to be here, because this is a passion of his. He has been spreading the news about PEP, Primary Exit Profile, and the National Standards Curriculum, and about STEM, and about the importance of incorporating STEM into our curriculum from a very early age. So he has been pioneering, he has been motivated about these areas for a number of years. So he is pleased that we have been able to create a greater market for studying engineering locally in order to fill the labor market's demands and drive innovation in Jamaica. Furthermore, with the expansion of business process management and the development of other industrial zones, it is certain that the demand for engineers will significantly increase in Jamaica in years to come, in months to come. In fact, a study of the labor market done during the period 2014 to 2016 highlighted that electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, maintenance engineers, and civil engineers, among others, were some of the positions that were vacant at the time. What this means, therefore, is that unfortunately, for a period of time, local universities were not supplying the needs of the labor market and the industry, or that where these individuals were trained and educated, some of them may have opted to not stay in Jamaica. Either case is unfortunate, but I hope that with the UA Mona campus, joining the list of local universities who produce engineers, we will be able to satisfy the market. And I'm sure the minister is especially pleased to hear the number of students that you hope to train in the next coming years. I heard, Prof. Weber, you said 1,000 students. After how many years was it? Great. So careers in engineering and other science and technology related paths are some of those that drive growth and development in Jamaica. It is the engineers and scientists that provide solutions to problems such as building earthquake-resistant buildings, providing roads that are sturdy and durable, automated kiosks at Pika, for example, and the airport, I imagine, and of course, ways to improve daily living. It is these careers that have driven us, among others, to the top 5 list of countries, economies that are best to start a business according to the 2018 Doing Business report. And I think that is excellent news that we should all celebrate. I believe that the ministry has also been making leaps and strides when it comes to promoting STEM locally. For engineering alone, including mechanical, computer engineering, civil engineering, we committed to giving 90 scholarships this year. I was telling Dr. Bell Hutchinson, 90 scholarships across the 3 universities that provide degrees in engineering. Unfortunately, not many students applied, and so the full 90 were not actually awarded this year, but we will be increasing that 90 to 150 next year. And so we hope that all of those 150 scholarships will be taken up from UWI Mona campus, from CMU, from UTech, all across the board. We want to train engineers, and we are willing to pay for it to some extent. So if the word wasn't out before, the word is out now. When the scholarship season comes around, when application season comes around, I encourage all students to apply. Because as Prof. Weber said, the 3 A's, AAA strategy, and the first one is access. And we on our end have to play our part to ensure that students do have access to quality engineering, quality education, particularly engineering, yes, I agree. So we've also been educating teachers, encouraging teachers in STEM fields to apply for scholarships. We have scholarships for teachers who want to further train students to come up in STEM areas, in engineering, from the primary level, come straight up. So changing the focus of education focuses on problem solving and critical thinking, as I mentioned earlier, and requires an entire transformation of the education system. Part of this transformation includes an added thrust in the STEM areas, and that is a firm belief of the Ministry and the Minister of Education. So in closing these greetings, these brief greetings, the Ministry is looking forward to witnessing a transformation of the labor market on a whole, the economy, the nation, and the region, as a result of this addition to the Mona campus. I wish to, on behalf of the Minister and the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, congratulate the UWI for this achievement, and I encourage you to continue providing excellent training and educational opportunities for Jamaicans, Caribbeans, international students everywhere. And by extension, all students. No one is too young or too old to learn. So I encourage you to continue. So after all, this is a regional institution fulfilling regional needs. And I thank you for responding to the call of the Ministry of Education and the government on a whole. And we look forward to further partnerships, further scholarships with this faculty. I thank you.
So the Faculty of Engineering currently has relationships with 3 engineering faculties, one with our own Faculty of Engineering, St. Augustine. There's also one with the University, SUNY Binghamton, and the other one with the University of Florida. You might see on your program Professor Norman Fitzcoy, who was supposed to have spoken about the relationship between the Faculty of Engineering and the University of Florida. Instead, we have our own Professor Hanif Lachman, who is Deputy Dean in the Faculty of Engineering, who will speak about that, that relationship. Just a bit about Professor Lachman. He is a St. Jago graduate and also a Rhodes Scholar. And he's worked in engineering for many years, a distinguished scholar. And I'm told that Professor, Dr. Aiken, see, it's coming. I'm told by the dean that he was quite lucky and happy to have Professor Lachman join this faculty. Colin, where is Professor Lachman? Okay. So he's going to speak about the relationship between the Faculty of Engineering and the University of Florida. Welcome, Professor Latchman.
Principal Weber, other members of the current administration, as well as former members of administration, a representative of the Ministry of Education, and other distinguished guests and colleagues. It is a real pleasure for me to be here as part of the group that witnesses the launch of the Faculty of Engineering. As a young boy from St. Catherine who had to do engineering by traveling 1,200 miles down the road to Trinidad and Tobago, and then to have benefited from that very fine education, along with colleagues who I've known since I was 11 years old or so. Ivan Anderson, who is in our midst, a colleague and friend, lifetime friend, and Maurice McNaughton, whom I hope is here. We all three of us went to San Diego and then went on to Trinidad. When I went to Oxford in 1983, as was mentioned on the scholarship, the University of Oxford said, we don't know what a first-class degree from the University of the West Indies in engineering means. And therefore, we have to ask you to register as a final year in the BSc program. I called my father and told him I'm taking the next plane home because this is crazy. I have a very good, solid engineering education, and the University of Oxford wants me to repeat my final year. The sagely wisdom of my father said, look, you already traveled to England. Why don't you stay for a while and see what you think? Well, after a few months of doing some basic third-year, final year subjects, even more, less than that, maybe a month and a half, my advisor told me, look, you're wasting my time and your time. We'll put you in the master's program. Master's program morphed into a DPhil PhD program. And in 3 years, we had published several papers and had graduated from Oxford and came back to Jamaica to work for the telephone company and ended up working and teaching for the last 30 years or so in Florida. The University of Florida has offered to reach out to the Caribbean, and while I was there as a faculty, I retired 2 years ago in 2016, and over the years, I've done several sabbatical periods here. In '94, I taught a class in Mona School of Business, or whatever it was called at that time, in a merger or a combination of technology with business management. And then I came again in 2013-14 with Paul when he was starting up this project, and did a year doing some work with him. And then I went back to Florida and asked them to sign a memorandum of understanding between our two schools, and I was appointed at the time as the representative from the University of Florida to facilitate this program. That memorandum was signed by the former administration at the principal's level and also at the University of Florida. So a memorandum is in place. Now, as a retired member of the faculty there, Norm Fitzcoy, my colleague, who still is there in the Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering program, is the representative for that program. So although Norm was supposed to speak about this, I'm happy to comment on the nature of that relationship. The University of Florida has offered to put together a 2+2 program in all areas of engineering. We have 12 different departments of engineering, or what you call programs, in the typical ones. And the 2+2 program allows students to take the first 2 years here, and then the last 2 years at the University of Florida, and they will get a degree appropriately designated from the University of Florida and or the University of Florida, depending on what they elect to do. In addition to that, so that's in place, and I think there's one candidate in this room and a few others likely who are targeted for that 2+2 program, which is a very nice combination of programs. The other thing that the memorandum opens up is the collaborative research, access to funding from various agencies to launch the research program of the Faculty of Engineering. And then finally, there's also the possibility of using some of the online materials that are used for master's programs in every one of our 12 disciplines. An entire master's program is online from each of those disciplines. They can be cherry-picked and developed here, combining with our own graduate level classes that are being developed. So, that having been said, just an overview of the program. It is my pleasure to be here. Congratulations to Paul and the hard work he has done, the tremendous work in bringing this from a school to a faculty. And also for me, it's a very great delight to see a Faculty of Engineering here in Jamaica. Congratulations and thank you.
Professor Brian Copeland is currently the PVC and Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal at the St. Augustine campus, and also a distinguished engineer in his own right. He was the former Dean of the Faculty of Engineering at the St. Augustine campus, and has played an important role in getting this faculty going. In fact, I'm told that he gave full support to the faculty, and in fact, before it was a faculty, a school, by allowing two of his members of staff to work with Dr. Aiken and others to establish the programs. He has also given his full blessing and support to the transformation of this program from its initial BSc in electronics engineering into a school, the transition, I should say, from the school into a faculty. We have Professor Copeland, video message. He would have liked to be here today, but unfortunately he could not make it, but he has sent a video message which we will all hear now.
Greetings to all attending this landmark event, to all ministers of government, UE executive and staff, students and members of the public and the media. It is always my pleasure to be able to speak at events like these, to bring a note of congratulations and well wishes on achievements happening at one of our sister campuses. We at St. Augustine are pleased to witness the fruition of this new Faculty of Engineering at Mona, one whose progression I have seen from the very start. We have come a long way since the 1960s, when St. Augustine housed the only UE Faculty of Engineering. In those early days, some 50% of the engineering enrollment at St. Augustine came from Jamaica. But because of the economic circumstances that impacted us all in varying amounts at different times across the Caribbean, that number fell to less than 6% by the time I became dean in 2007. Add this to the fact that Jamaica has the largest population in the UE17, a point that then
in 2017, from a pool of 1,000 applicants. They also won the two-time third place. I know, I know, third. You stuck at number 3. Okay. So they came third twice, Merlin-Ottey syndrome, yeah. It's actually a remarkable achievement to come third in anything, eh? But he's on now. But it was in the robotics competition, and that's the robot there. You can eat part of it, except the wheels.
Greetings to all attending this landmark event, to all ministers of government, UE executive and staff, students and members of the public and the media. It is always my pleasure to be able to speak at events like these, to bring a note of congratulations and well wishes on achievements happening at one of our sister campuses. We at St. Augustine are pleased to witness the fruition of this new Faculty of Engineering at Mona, one whose progression I have seen from the very start.
Another fun fact.
We have come a long way since
all in employment within 1 to 2 months after completing their final examinations. That is remarkable. There's clearly something that we can learn from the faculty of engineering that other faculties can learn. I think while our tech people prepare, I think we should move on in the program. We currently have Professor Neville Ying, one of our distinguished academics and also administrators, known in many different roles. Some of you might know him as the Myco Man. He's also known as a diaspora man. Neville Ying is a mathematician, right, Neville Ying? He was in planning at the university. He has so many roles that if I begin to list all of them today, I would not leave here today. But I'm going to ask him to come and introduce the class of 1967. Sorry, introduction of the class of 1967 award for excellence in leadership and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, you believe that this young boy was in the class of 1967, but Neville Ying, come forward.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the UII class of 1967 is very pleased to be a part of this very historic occasion, the launch of the new Faculty of Engineering at the Mona campus. I especially want to comment on the opening remarks by the chairman, who is actually a social scientist. Hope the chairman is listening, you know. You mentioned what the physicists did. I'm a physicist. You mentioned what the mathematician did. I'm a mathematician. But you didn't mention what the social scientists did. What they did when the fire was blazing is that they decided they would have a symposium. So this will complete the stories. I want to congratulate the UII on this bold and very timely initiative and wish the new faculty every success. Also particularly want to congratulate Dr. Paul Aiken from a couple of points. First of all, he's one of my distinguished Jamaica Flour Mill scholars. When I met Paul as chairman of the Flour Mills Foundation, he arrived at the interview late. He was coming from Manchester and didn't know where Flour Mills was. So he took the wrong bus, arrived late, and he was sweating. And I said, young man, you don't know where Flour Mills is? He said, no, sir. Anyway, I said, settle down. You're a bright guy. The rest of it is that we awarded him a scholarship, and we are actually very proud of him. And this year, he'll be one of our special guests when the Flour Mills celebrate their 30th anniversary. Actually, the foundation was formed the same year as Hurricane Gilbert. And I won't say anything more about hurricanes at this stage. More importantly, though, I want to congratulate him as a former member of Taylor Hall, the only hall on the campus. Somebody call it the Hall of Halls. But all the Taylorites here, you can, I know Lilith, some others like from Irving, Judith is from Seacole, who never speak to in my time, but she ended up being chairman of the 67 group. But quite seriously, the class of 1967 is going to make a special gift this evening, and shortly I'll ask a member of the class to present this gift to the new faculty of engineering. But before we do this, I think on occasions like this you must know the background and antecedents of things like gifts. So I crave your indulgence to give you a little background. Our class, the class of 1967, is the first set of graduates from UII to celebrate 50 years of graduation from UII. I think you got the drift. Each time I pause, it's time for applause. We decided that we'd do our celebration in two ways. One was to have a good time. And we did. We spent a week doing that. But before we did, we decided to have a forum to tell the university how it should do better in terms of engaging its alumni. And we have about 3 recommendations that we'll pass on to the university. But more importantly, we renewed acquaintances and friendships. People from Trinidad, Barbados, USA, whatever. But more importantly, we decided that we would also give a gift. And so we want to tell you a little about this gift this evening. It's when you're given money, you're allowed to speak long. So if I cut my speech, each time I lose some minutes, you lose $200,000. So should I go on, Mr. Chairman? In celebration of our 50th anniversary of graduation last year, the UWI class of 1967 decided to give back something tangible to our alma mater. Based on the amount collected, we determined that the greatest impact that our class gift could make lay in targeting and celebrating certain qualities that we would like to see exemplified in UWI graduates. After much deliberations, we decided to endow an annual prize to a student from the new Faculty of Engineering, Mona, to be known as the UWI Class of 1967 Award for Excellence in Leadership and Innovation. That was another $200,000 applause. We chose to use the award to increase attention to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, and the agenda at Mona, and opportunely to celebrate the establishment of this new faculty. We selected leadership and innovation as competencies that are critical to pursuing and enabling technological solutions to the issues that impede growth in national and regional productivity. And we expect that the achievements of the students and graduates of the Faculty of Engineering to be part of and be the forefront of this movement to attract and inspire other students to participate and enroll in programs like this. The award will be made at the faculty's annual awards ceremony starting in November this year, and will be based on the behavioral attributes that are exhibited by the student as displayed in their academic year and applying the criteria of leadership, innovation, and academic performance. It's our hope that the UWI Class of 1967 Award for Excellence in Leadership and Innovation will become acknowledged both within the university and outside the university as one of the most prestigious awards to be sought after by graduates from the Faculty of Engineering, and a positive signal to be conveyed to employers and to graduate programs. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to ask a member of the class of 1967 and chairman of our planning group, Dr. Judith Robinson, to make a presentation to Dr. Paul Aiken, the new Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, and to present, very importantly, a check to the Dean, and also to make some comments. And while they're doing that, I would like to recognize other members of the class of 1967 who are here and ask them to stand that they can be recognized. It takes them a little long, you know, at this stage, you know. So be very patient. When you graduate 50 years ago, it takes a little while to rise. You all met Dr. Vin Lawrence, and you have Dr. Lilith Nelson. In fact, she was one of the original members of the University Singers, which was actually formed in our time. Mr. Winston Wright, who liked the campus so much, he came back here and headed up Chancellor Hall, and he's still here. Dr. Judith Robinson, chairman of the group. And you notice I was from Taylor Hall, and she's from Seacole, and we allowed her to chair the committee. So when we spoke about heated deliberations, you understand why. So Dr. Robinson, Would you come forward, please, and present the check to Dr. Aiken? Thank you.
Paul, have a seat.
Have a seat?
Yes. I'm not presenting anything this evening because we are still in the process of collecting money. I got the most amazing email today from a member of the class, actually a graduate from St. Augustine, whom we thought was not well enough to participate last year. And he wrote me a very nice note, very coherent note, and he told me that he wants to give money. And where can he leave the check, and to whom should the check be made? So we're still in the process of collecting money. That's the point. That's the only reason why I don't want Paul to stand beside me. And it is our hope that we will actually present you a check at the November function, the awards function. But note that it is not the final check. We have all kinds of ideas. I've had people write me. Just yesterday I had an email from a graduate in Canada, and she says, Judith, I have given already, but I'd like to give again. And we believe that you know, the momentum will grow as soon as people begin to understand that this is really a significant award. We have identified leadership and we've identified innovation, and the awardees, we think, will exhibit what I call incipient greatness. And we will be reading about them over a long period of time. So I am here. I'm not supposed to be here. Actually, Dawn Otti is supposed to be here, but she had a series of misfortunes today, and she couldn't be, so let me apologize for Dawn's absence. But I do want to say that we look forward to having a long and mutually beneficial relationship with the Faculty of Engineering, because, as I said, we expect our classmates to continue to give. And I have certain plans where I plan to target some corporates who may want to participate and partner with us, so that we can have something that will take us into perpetuity, or if not into perpetuity, for a very long time, and much longer than my own existence. Although a friend of mine from New York wrote me and said, Judith, you're going to be in this thing forever, so prepare yourself. But I don't mind being in it for as long as it takes to establish what we think is a really significant award. At this time, we're looking forward to participating in the selection of the awardee for 2018. And Neville, Willard Pinnock, and I will be sitting on a committee with Paul and some others to make that selection. And that award will be made on the 1st of November when the Faculty of Engineering has its award ceremony. We expect to make an award of $100,000, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's not quite the Nobel Prize of $1 million. But we think it's the right place to start, and we expect that over time we'll be able to increase it. We hope that we will be able to increase it. So Paul, yeah, if just to come and give my hand a shake, I wouldn't mind. Because and we wish the Faculty of Engineering all the best, and we know it will do all the best because they'll have the class of 67 right behind it. But thank you very much.
Well, this is not my section of the speech, but just to respond to the class of 67. This was supposed to be done at an earlier event, and it didn't come off the way it should have. But before I get into that, I must say the first time I met Judith, I knew the name, but the first time I met Judith, it was in the meeting with herself, Neville Ying, and Vin Lawrence. And it's the first time I've seen someone had those two distinguished gentlemen on a complete manners and quiet. And they were absolutely, I don't know if Sherry remember the meeting, they were absolutely obedient, and it was just awesome. Thank you, Judith, because none of us, I don't think anybody else could have done that. So I'm certain the students and staff of the Faculty of Engineering, Mona, sincerely thank the class of 1967 for this generous award and to recognize excellence and innovation in leadership among our students. We are very happy to have been selected for this award from among the many programs. I can just imagine the level of discussion and convincing to tell your group, your committee, your class that engineering, and I think Vin and Neville have a lot to do with that, but I'll leave it at that. Mona Engineering already benefited significantly from one of your graduates from the class of 67, Dr. Lawrence. Dr. Vin Lawrence and his team of directors from Gentech Consultant have been very instrumental and supportive in the creation and facilitation of civil engineering program at Mona. You see, I learned the pause from Neville. As a matter of fact, I would save in this for the other section, but since it comes up now, I remember when Professor Shirley was the principal at the time, and we were thinking of forming or creating the BSc Civil Engineering program, and there was a symposium, a STEM symposium through the School of Education, and it was in the Faculty of Law conference room. And just as Prof. Shirley was, I think it was going up, or we finished the opening ceremony section, I went up and I called him Sir G at the time, when nobody here was talk, and I said, Sir G, Vin Lawrence and Gentech is back in civil engineering. He said, really? He said, do we have a go? Sure, we have a go. And that was it. Because when you start writing these programs, you have to make sure that you have complete stakeholders buy-in before you waste your time and do all. It's a lot of work. So I make sure I talk to the principal, I talk to my colleagues in St. Augustine, I get their buy-in, and then, of course, Ishen Kumbakawa was the dean, and he was right beside me there. And then we put the program together, and it's the success it is today. Thanks again, Vin Lawrence, Gentech and his team, Prof. Shirley, Chen Kumbakawa, it was all. Well, I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So I would have the opportunity the prize for excellence and innovation will be administered by a committee chaired by Professor Neville Ying, and I think Judith has spoke to that. So I just want to say the students and staff of the Faculty of Engineering wholeheartedly thank the class of 1967 for this gift that keeps on giving. Such generosity, among other things, will assist the Faculty of Engineering in achieving its mission of providing high-quality education with emphasis on application via research and development in support of Caribbean business, industry, and infrastructure, with our graduate staff and facilities being at the forefront in propelling growth, development, and innovation in the Caribbean and the world. I strongly believe that with partners like you, we shall become a global hub of engineering teaching, research, and practice. Thank you.
So I think we have the video now, but, you know, I just want to respond a bit to Neville. Because, no problem. Because Neville, I mean, what I didn't tell you is that when I was initially telling the joke, I left out the social scientists. I did leave out the so I'm going to tell you what the social scientists did. After the physicist, the engineer, and the mathematician couldn't figure out how to solve a simple problem, the social scientists decided to have a symposium to study this. And secondly, they felt that after having the symposium would last long enough so that by the end of the symposium, the fire would be out. So, there you go. I think now we have the the video message from Professor Copeland.
Greetings to all attending this landmark event. Greetings to all attending this landmark event, to all ministers of government, UE executive and staff, students and members of the public and the media. It is always my pleasure to be able to speak at events like these, to bring a note of congratulations and well wishes on achievements happening at one of our sister campuses. We at St. Augustine are pleased to witness the fruition of this new Faculty of Engineering at Mona, one whose progression I have seen from the very start. We have come a long way since the 1960s, when St. Augustine housed the only UE Faculty of Engineering. In those early days, some 50% of the engineering enrollment at St. Augustine came from Jamaica. But because of the economic circumstances that impacted us all in varying amounts at different times across the Caribbean, that number fell to less than 6% by the time I became dean in 2007. Add this to the fact that Jamaica has the largest population in the UE17, a point that then Principal Shirley made to me when the school was being conceived. We can see then that there can be no denying that a full-fledged engineering presence is required at Mona. It is a source of personal pride that the very first draft of what would become the Mona School of Engineering was in fact crafted over a very good Trini Sunday lunch at my home in San Fernando, just about 50 kilometers south of the St. Augustine campus. Now here we are, celebrating the school's maturity into a full-fledged faculty with an expanded range of programming that now includes civil engineering, an area that is so very important to Jamaican infrastructural sustainability and growth. I spoke at the launch of the Mona School of Engineering in 2009 and emphasized the point that I still feel very strongly about. And that is that although the school utilized a lot of the structure and program content from St. Augustine, it should not be a perfect clone of the then 40-year-old faculty. This was a chance for the UE to recreate itself and make the most of an opportunity to chart new ground in building a modern and effective program, fit for purpose and more appropriately suited to the Jamaican environment and situation. I note in this regard a recent conversation with the PVC bus about the fact that the new faculty will be seeking US-based ABET accreditation, while St. Augustine will maintain its UK-based certification. One recommendation I would make at this time, though, is that the faculty should accelerate its thrust in working with other faculties to build a strong culture of innovation and entrepreneurship among its staff and its students. This mandate is well entrenched in our new AAA strategic plan 2017 to 2022. It is incumbent on us as the largest and oldest Caribbean university to drive development of a Caribbean-wide innovation system to enable the region to derive maximum economic benefits from its resources, its natural and human resources, that is, and by facilitating then the commercialization of creative thought. The crowning achievement of such a system would be an environment in which new industries, startups if you may, are generated on an ongoing basis, replacing those that are no longer viable. So again, let me extend my heartiest congratulations to all staff and administration of the spanking new Faculty of Engineering at Mona, which demonstrates a commitment to our mission of advancing learning, creating knowledge, and fostering innovation. Colleagues, I am excited, very excited, to see the good work that will come from this new faculty. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of this momentous occasion. I wish you all well. Have a good evening.
Mind pausing for a little entertainment. We have joining us tonight the group CAGE, C-A-J-E, And they've been around for 5 years, and most of them are UWI students or were students. And in fact, one is an engineer. Can you guess which one? Which one is an engineer? Saxophone? A bit too sophisticated. I'm just joking. No, actually it's a drummer. Somebody called a drummer. Yes, the drummer, excellent drummer. Over now to Cage. By the way, they have a concert in April. They're quite good, especially the drummer, and I invite you all to attend their concert. Ladies and gentlemen, Cage, and you have the musical director, Peter Ashburn. Everybody knows Peter Ashburn, who is well known for his jazz compositions. I was also informed by the registrar that one of our former principals, Professor Gordon Shirley, had a hand in the development of this group. As you all can tell from the performance tonight, this performance was quite remarkable, and Professor Shirley, thank you so much for recognizing the talent and helping to nurture it. Thank you so much. Did you all know that also Professor Shirley is an artist, an excellent, I've actually seen some of his work, quite good. So we're looking to see when we have another, when he has another exhibition. Okay, so at this point, we would like to bring to the podium Mr. Jake Susky. As you all know, as I said earlier, one of the objectives of the engineering program was to bring different stakeholders together, the industry partners, the government, and academia. And so they've been able to forge a relationship with New Fortress Energy, and Jake Susky is here. He's an executive. He's an executive in New Fortress Energy, and he's here to talk about that relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Susky.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be here tonight. So many distinguished guests with Dr. Aiken, Professor Weber, Dr. Lawrence, Professor Shirley, and many others. We're just proud to be here tonight to celebrate with you the creation of the faculty and the dean. You know, our founder, Wes Edens, met Dr. Aiken 2 years ago. And when he met, he immediately identified the beginning of what he thought would be a really incredible partnership. He saw a lot of energy from Dr. Aiken, and a lot of passion about what the vision was that they shared, which was to create a new, energy reform in Jamaica that would not only help transform the sector here in Jamaica, but create a hub for the entire Caribbean. And so that partnership that was formed, 2 years ago, probably around this time, has really blossomed into something that we're very proud of. Engineers are kind of at the forefront of innovation in energy. None of our projects would have been possible without our team of engineers, but the introduction of LNG in Jamaica wouldn't have been possible without Jamaica's own engineers. Dr. Lawrence and his leadership and his vision on ESET, and countless others who've looked to try to transform the sector from being dependent on oil and petroleum-based fuels to something that's cleaner, and the shift towards renewable energy. And so we're very, very proud to be at the forefront of that. Over the past several years, our partnership has taken the form of scholarships. We're now up to 10 scholars. We are providing bursaries for students at the School of Engineering as well. And we've just begun to incorporate interns into our offices here in Jamaica and in the United States as well. So it's an exciting partnership, and one that we're continuing to build on with guest lectures, with curriculum that's focused on LNG in the energy sector. And it's something that we really look forward to kind of making sustainable, because it's not just about partnering to create one project that'll have an impact for 5 or 10 years, but it's partnering to create the innovators that are going to have the impact for the next several generations. So we're very excited. We're honored to be partners with you, and we're very, very honored to be here tonight. Congratulations, Dr. Aiken and the faculty. You're in great hands, and we look forward to creating the next generation of world-class engineers with you. Thank you.
So the man of the moment, Dr. Paul Aiken, and before you come, Paul, I want to say a few things about you. Because most of us know him as the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, a graduate of Columbia, of UE, and also in physics and Columbia University, where he got his PhD in electrical engineering, a person who's had 25 years in the field. He became a senior lecturer in 2006. He worked with electronics unit, and in 2013, he was appointed director of the former Mona School of Engineering, which which transitioned into the faculty. So we know about all of those very distinguished accomplishments of Paul Aiken. But did you know that Paul Aiken was on Taylor Hall? In fact, the three people sitting in front, we were all on Taylor Hall together. Dale, Mona, Paul, I think we were there as grad students, so Dale, you and I. And Paul was there, and we knew Paul for his music. He was a DJ, disc jockey. And Paul had one of the most popular collection of records and tapes at the time. And if you wanted a party started, you had to call Paul Aiken. Not only that, he was a bodybuilder and a sportsman. Yeah, the guy spent a lot of time in the gym, you know. When I found out that he was studying physics, I could not believe it, because this guy used to have a lot of fun, you know. He would be playing his music in the gym, etc. But I got later to learn that this is a very serious man, a serious thinker. And I know that we all know Paul is very passionate, has been working, and he's a guy who wants everything done yesterday or last week. He moves very quickly, and he's a man who wants to see the output. So, Paul, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce you to have some brief reflections. Brief.
As I hear Ian I spoke of Taylor Hall, when I came on Taylor Hall, Dale Weber was my subordinate. And I knew Mona from then, because there were a couple from then. But I won't get into any more history. I won't do like my very good master of ceremonies and get into all that stories of the past. I'll just get straight to the reflection, and I must say that I had reflection and realizing the vision, but I noticed that Principal Dale Weber covered most of the topic that I would have enlightened you on. And thank you, sir. As mentioned, Prof. Gordon Shirley and Dr. Vin Lawrence's input. I didn't say too much about Prof. Ishen Kumbakawa. No. Here, I have a speech here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to talk about the stuff. When we envisioned the start of the BSc Electronics Engineering in 2008, that's when the planning started. I was in physics department at the time, and Prof. Taylor was a senior lecturer, and they were very supportive. Prof. Chen was there then. They were very supportive of the initiative. We had a major, what should I say, seminar, workshop kind of thing with industry, and we called in the telecommunications and the manufacturing industry to say, what if we're going to offer an engineering program, what do you want in the graduates? And I still have the minutes of that meeting, and we got very good feedback. We created the courses to produce the student that have those skill set when they graduated. And I must say, we started the BSc Electronics Engineering in 2009. I don't see any of the 2009 guys here, but I see some of the 2013. The first cohort graduated in 2012 of 6 students. 1 first class honors, 2 upper second class, and 2 lower second, and 1 pass. And the first class honors, I remember him up like just yesterday, Dane Robinson. He went to Petrojam that summer and did a internship at Petrojam, and he blew everybody away. They were so impressed that they employed him, and he stayed there for 2 years. Then he got a full scholarship, OAS scholarship, to go to Howard University, and he completed his master's in engineering last year, and he did a 1-year stint at a company, and I got an email that I thought he would have been here, but it looked like they were keeping him there. And that was the very first graduate. You can clap. Remember the pause? And the trend continues, and that was 6 graduates. The following year we had 12, and I must say some of them are here. in the alumni, and they are doing very well. And after that, we have 18. So you see that there's a mathematical progression going on there, 6, 12, 18, and we're hoping for 24 the following year, but we got 22 because that was when we started having the civil engineering graduates of 5, and it grew from there. And then civil engineering took over in terms of numbers. And this year we have 347 applicants for civil engineer. And biomedical was right behind it, was 232, and the rest falls in the 100 and something. But we had over 1,400 applicants across the programs. And then when you take the heads out principal, you get 1,184. The numbers are growing, and it's growing tremendously. So, of course, we have to celebrate our achievements, and we couldn't have done that without our partners. We do have academic partners in SUNY Binghamton University. Unfortunately, they couldn't get to join us tonight because they will be going through their ABET renewal application next week, and we fully understand what that process is. And they couldn't be able to join, but they do send their blessings and their greetings. We have, as Hanif mentioned, the University of Florida. That's our partners, and they're still working with us. We have this 2+2 program that we are about to embark on with them. We are working out the details, the logistics, and we're selecting the courses, and it's going to add 8 more engineering programs to our offering, including aeronautical engineering or aerospace, nuclear and radiological, agricultural, chemical, mechanical, material science and engineering, and environmental engineering. And the students, once they qualify the 3.2 average or higher, they will be eligible for a Latin American scholarship to go to UF for 2 more years, and they will actually pay $6,000 instead of the 10 that they will pay here. And the normal international student pays $25,000. So it's a full scholarship. It's a very good scholarship and a very good opportunity for partnership. And I see Ivan Anderson here, and if mentioned that, well, he didn't say it, but his son is the guinea pig. Zachary, is he here? Who will hopefully be the first one to start this program next year. Now, we know that it's not the cheapest program, but it's also not the most expensive one here either. So we're somewhere in the middle, and in spite of that, we try to increase the numbers, and we have to offer scholarships. And from the ministry, you mentioned about the 90 scholarship, and I know 20 of those are for our engineering students here, full scholarships. Unfortunately, the numbers didn't make up to that, but I promise we'll get them to you next year, ma'am. Fortress mentioned the scholarship that they have. They started last year, and 2,500 US. This year, with 5 students, this year they went to 10 students, and they're already committed to double that amount for next year. Thank you very much. The other one is student loan. We have been, and Prof. Shirley is very aware of this, he chairs a subcommittee that we are looking at how to finance or assist the students in financing their education. So we have been talking, and student loan have been responding. They have increased the loan since we started from the usual $250 that they would give to a UGC-funded student to $390, $430, $500, $750, and this year they are now at $833,000 as loan to engineering student at Mona. We do have Jamaica Valley's an attitude we call JAMVAT that will provide a grant of $350,000 to needy students, and of course that's a grant, they don't have to pay that back. So what we normally do to augment all of that, you get your student loan, you get your grant, you're short by about $100,000 or $200,000, we will give you an engineering bursary once you apply for it. And once you have an engineering bursary, you are required to maintain a 3.0 GPA minimum to maintain that bursary. And it has worked very well. I believe that for last year we had gotten our financial report from bursary, and last year we had issued out over, I shouldn't say this, but $28 million in terms of bursary. Most of that is for the preliminary engineering students who, the program wasn't really designed for Jamaican students, it was designed to attract international students. But when Jamaican students want to come into the program, they want to be identified as engineers, we offer them a 50% bursary. So when you add, last year we had 50 prelim engineering students. So that explains where the 25 times 10, 250,000 US dollars. At that time, I didn't know with my good friends in bursary. I don't know if Nigel is here, but my good friends in bursary explained that every time I give a bursary to a student, at the end of the year when we have our surplus, they take it back from us. So it's something, but it's something that we have to do. It's something that we have to assist with. It's something that we must do to facilitate the program. So, Ian, you spoke about the achievements. Our graduates, we have some of them here. Hopefully you get to talk to them and they can explain. The good thing is that I know those who have graduated between 2012 and 2014, they are now middle managers in industry and they are employing graduates now. I know, I see Jeremy Allright here is already a senior manager at Digicel, and he made that in a very fast time. He's responsible for the Caribbean region, right, Jeremy? And they're doing very well. And we cannot graduate enough engineers. I know Lyndon Fortnum, my staff, on the former Digicel senior engineer. By June, Digicel will be calling us that they need 20 or 30 engineers, and we're like, where are we going to get them? They're gone. So we have to try and build these numbers to feed the industry. There's a demand, and it's out there, and it's our duty as the University of the West Indies to fill that demand and make sure that we meet the countries and the industry need and for the building capacity in engineering. So where are we now? Well, what are we going to do going forward? I mentioned the 2+2 program that we're looking at adding those, and there are many students. I have some students from Immaculate and Campion that hard set and doing chemical engineering. I don't know why they don't want to go to Trinidad, Leighton, I don't know, but they are set, they want to do that 2+2 and transfer. And what we are seeing is that some of these students from these top traditional high school who would normally be filtered off or to go to the USA, they are planning on coming here and accessing that 2+2 program before they go off. And I had an online meeting with Prof. Curtis from UF, and we are saying maybe it can go both ways. We could take some of your students here for the first 2 years, and then 2 years, and then we can send them up. So we are looking at that, and that's where our preliminary engineering come in very good, because what it does, it provides access. Come all ye faithful. As long as you have the equivalent of CSEC maths and English and a little bit of science, we will accept you, we will mold you, we will train you, we will transform you into a product that's make you have the necessary skill to start our BSc engineering program. And that's where we are driving that initiative. So what's the strategy for growth? You have heard about the numbers. We have over 1,100 applicants, yet only 1/3 is being qualified based on their CAPE mathematics and physics. The other 2/3 are usually deferred to the preliminary engineering program. How do we increase that number from 1/3? We have to be very involved in outreach activities. And to say that, just the most recent one, we are partnering with the Minister of Education through Sadfa Bennett, UNESCO, I see Petal was here earlier, and Digicel Foundation, and we are looking to facilitate access to lab facilities through the microscience, through our Lab Pro design that we did some time ago, and to train, to provide this avenue to excite students that science is an alternative. The application of science to engineering is something that you can really be involved in and really be beneficial to you and your family. And it's actually working. I hear students saying, well, they're coming to do engineering because they're going to get a job when they finish. And that's a good thing. So we want to have more of that. We want to get them excited. We want to get them going. And I want to thank my partners from UNESCO and Ministry of Education and Digicel for partnering with us on this. We want to improve our facilities. And as the principal in his opening remarks said, to align with the university's strategic objective, access, that's what the preliminary engineering does. alignment with the needs of industry, both local, Caribbean, and international. And of course, agile. It must be flexible. We can move across programs. We can move across universities. There's no barrier. You want to do engineering, you come. We will transform you. And we have a great team, very great team working with. So with that, I would just like my team to stand. First, the managers for the faculty, I'll just call them by name. You have met Hanni Flatchman, who is our Deputy Dean for Graduate Studies and Research. Thank you very much, sir. I don't need to introduce you. You're already introduced. We have Dr. Adrian Lawrence, who is Senior Lecturer, Deputy Dean for Undergraduate Matters. He is from UF, and he brings, all my staff are from diaspora, so he brings a wealth of experience. He still consults to Florida State, and we're very happy to have him with us. Dr. Omar Thomas, didn't see you here. He's our Deputy Dean for Outreach and Internationalization, and he's a man, he straddles between here and New Jersey a lot, and he's a man that's going to bring a lot of the international students and excite the local students, even some more, to come into our programs. And of course, the other Deputy Dean, the new Deputy Dean portfolio of quality assurance, which is definitely needed for engineering, is Dr. Leighton Elliser. Great to have you here. And he is from St. Augustine. He's very experienced in quality assurance matters. He was the one that brought St. Augustine back their civil engineering accreditation after they had lost it. He went to UK, did a survey, observed, came back, restructured, realigned, and they were reoffered their civil engineering Joint Board of Moderators accreditation. So I'm very happy to have you here with me. My head of programs, Nicholas McMorris and Lyndon Faulkner, I think I see them somewhere down there. Lyndon Faulkner. Nicholas McMorris for civil engineering. Lyndon is for electronics and computer systems engineering. And at this time, I won't go through all the staff. I'll just ask all the staff of the Faculty of Engineering just to stand so the people can, the guests and other people here can see you. So when they go out to have, I'm between you and your food right now and a nice offering of Lorraine outside, but just want them to see you so they will know and they can talk with you and ask you anything about the faculty. I'm very happy to have you on board with us. Thank you. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, we are building engineering capacity on three main pillars. We have the programs. We create the programs. We create it based on need. The programs are there. We are graduating quality. We are sending out quality graduates. So we are meeting that need. We have formed commercial arm to the engineering, Mona Tech Engineering Services, and I think I've seen my team over there, Mr. Eglan Stewart, who is the operation manager and his team leading that. It's the commercial arm of engineering. The students have access to internship through there, and that will be increased even more so once we start the cogen, the plant in full operation, and other initiatives. Our industry partners facilitate with internship, so there was only one thing left to do to make it sustainable, to ensure that when people like us are no longer around, unlike Judith, that's going to be here forever. I don't think we are going to be around with you, my dear. We have to make sure that there's continuity. So the research. We had started MPhil and PhD research. This year we had 51 applicants for the first year, and I think about 20 of them we sent out offers, and somewhere between 12 and 15 should be joining us this year for MPhil and PhD in engineering. And with that trained resource, I believe we'll be able to have qualified staff for our programs and for other programs in other universities in Jamaica and the Caribbean. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm certain will build capacity. The circle is complete. Thank you for joining me and my staff this evening. Thank you for having that confidence in us to do this. And thank you for being part of all of this.
Okay, so when I met Dr. Aiken, when he just came back, he said he would be here for about 5 years. And then he decided to wait until the first set of electronics engineers graduated. And then there was the Mona School of Engineering. So now that we're a faculty, I'm not sure where you'll move the goalposts next, but the students, alumni, and staff honor Dr. Paul Aiken in recognition of his passion, vision, and enduring dedication to the development and implementation of the UWI Mona Faculty of Engineering.
So, as you all know, all good things must come to an end. And at this point, I would like to call one of the students in the engineering program, Mr. J. Mullins, who is actually an Honors Society student. Where is Mr. Mullins? Okay, there he is. And he will now deliver the vote of thanks.
Chairman, Professor Ian Boxell, Professor Dale Weber, Professor Brian Copeland, Professor Gordon Shirley, Dr. Paul Aiken, Deans, and other senior managers of UWI Mona, ladies and gentlemen, and our most valued invited guests, good evening. It is indeed my pleasure to have been asked to deliver the vote of thanks on this special occasion. On behalf of the newly established Faculty of Engineering, its entire student body, or let me call it the fraternity of future engineers, and myself, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for your support and also for sharing with us your experience, opinions today. A big thank you to Professor Ian Boxell for seamlessly guiding us through this evening's proceedings. We all want to recognize your candor and grace. It's very admirable. I must mention our appreciation for the classical and jazz ensemble for providing us with wonderful music to actually keep us entertained. And also we'd want to recognize catering for Lorraine with the delightful meal will be served later, and importantly, the Mona Visitors Lodge for hosting us on this special occasion. I wish to express sincere gratitude to our specially invited guests, namely Miss Stephanie Sewell, who is representing the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, actually representing the Minister of such. Your words of encouragement were truly inspiring, especially when you mentioned the 150 scholarships that would be available next year. Further, we are grateful to Professor Brian Copeland, the Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal for UWI St. Augustine, for virtually sharing with us and encouraging us to recreate ourselves to build a modern program appropriate for Jamaica's industry and environment, and to accelerate its thrust to foster innovation through relationships between the many faculties on campus. A big thank you to our academic and industrial partners for their contribution through feedbacks and support as we continue to develop and improve the programs at the new Faculty of Engineering. Furthermore, we are grateful that Professor Anif Lachman, who is representing the University of Florida, for giving an excellent perspective as we move forward as an academic family, strengthening our relationship with the University of Florida. Of course, today, we are also thankful for New Fortress Energy for your words of inspiration as we move forward. And with this, my engineering representative of the Guild of Students, Mr. Romelio Ricketts, will definitely be talking to you later to introduce himself. I must express our sincere thanks to the graduating class of 1967 for commemorating this extraordinary moment with a scholarship award, which I am very sure that this will allow for the awardee, whoever he or she is, will be able to unlock its true potential, which is to be an engineer. Professor Dale Weber, our principal, the university's senior management corps, representatives of UMONA's Guild of Students, and our very own engineering alumni, we would like to thank you for your participation and involvement in today's proceedings. Well, Mr. Chairman and ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. It requires planning, a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated staff from the Faculty of Engineering, led by the one and only Dr. Paul Aiken. These members of staff, they are very result-oriented and passionate about their jobs. We cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to take and actually complete the tasks beyond their comfort zones. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to state that we are all most grateful to all speakers that has graced us today. We thank you for being with us this evening. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Sorry, I asked him who told him about the candor and grace part. First time I thank you though. Candor and grace, yeah. Okay, as I said, we are at the end of the program. My friend here, Alistair Hines, when he came in, the first thing he asked me was, when do we eat? Some of you might not know, but Alistair is a hard-working person. Alistair, I would recommend you go home for dinner, but those of you who have to go back to the office or might not have dinner, we have cocktails on the outside. But before we proceed to cocktails, I myself would like to thank the Dean, Dr. Aiken, my friend, who asked me to sit in as the chair. I was a bit reluctant, but I must say I enjoyed it and I learned quite a lot. I learned that engineers are fun to be with, and other things that we'll talk about later. But nonetheless, I think we all agree that this was a very exciting and fruitful, productive evening, and one that we look forward, in terms of Paul's work and the faculty, we certainly expect a great deal from you. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in applauding Paul and his team for an exciting work. And before you proceed outside, I'm going to call Paul, come Paul, and Jake Susky, principal, and Jay Chin, could you? So these four persons, notice that there's no female, by the way. And we need a female. Where's the? Yeah, where is she? Yes, Paul. How many people? Yeah? Okay, so they're all going to cut a cake. And believe it or not, it takes 4 persons to cut this cake. It's a huge cake. We don't... Come. So there's no ribbon, but we will use the cake instead. So after they cut this cake, we can then proceed outside to... It's a photo op. Okay, so you cut the cake and you get a photo op. Or you pretend to cut the cake. Okay, go ahead. Let me ask, is this a real cake, Paul? Do we eat this cake afterwards? Okay. Okay, yes, so we'll eat that.
We're sending back the cake to the
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. Safe travels home.